Good evening all, welcome back. Remember to like, comment and share this video. Tottenham Liverpool at the Tottenham Stadium on Sunday. It's Super Sunday, it's 4:30 kickoff. It is a big one. Out of 60 league games, Liverpool, I seen the stat coming into this, have won 29, 17 draws. Spurs have won 14, so we've always had the upper hand on Spurs. And we have a decent enough record going there. Towards the end of last season, obviously Spurs put a dent in our title charge, getting a draw. Setback, but got us on the counter attack, and I'm not sure whether they'll go toe to toe with us the weekend. Something tells me they won't. They'll sit back and counter, particularly with a couple of players missing. Delighted this evening to be joined by Keith Plunkett from the LFC Daytrippers. Keith, how are you, bro?
Great, yeah. Thanks for having me on, Darren. It's been a while since we were on here, and it's good to catch up and have a little chat about this game.
Yeah, huge game. Can't wait for it. Spurs 26 points. We're on 16. Obviously, they're 10 ahead of us. We have a game over them. We beat them the weekend. You're possibly looking at only a 4-point deficit. But it's just saying to Keith there, just we come on for a few seconds off air, that there's 24 league games to go from the 26th of December to the end of the season. So there's a huge amount of Premier League games left. Obviously, we'll hopefully by then we're still in the League Cup. We have the FA Cup to contend with and the knockout stage of Champions League. So the season so far, Keith, very unpredictable. Liverpool, they've had me borderline depression at times this season, and it's so hard to predict because many a times I've been on this channel or on other streams, and even with my mates at the pub, whatever, talking about, I think it'll be this, I think it'll be that. Couldn't have got it further wrong. Last week against Leeds, I was expecting us to beat Leeds. I expected it to be a tough game. The fans, I'm not sure whether Leeds fans want Jesse Marsch, but the players certainly played from last week, and it was a well-earned win for Leeds last week, and we were just, again, unpredictable, just shocking all round. I thought it wasn't good enough. And look, you're on Twitter, Keith, and I've seen you sharing and putting stuff up, and you being, quick to say it's nothing to do with the manager, nothing to do with the owners. I think it's probably a little bit of everything, but particularly the players, because the players are the ones that go out and perform. And these players, Keith, as well as me and most Liverpool fans, they're much better than what they're giving us, a whole lot better. And, we've injuries and etc. And, we didn't have an injection in midfield, but performances just haven't been good enough consistently, have they?
No, they haven't. And, you touched on something there, Darren, that, I've said what I feel on Twitter all the time. I'm vocal enough on it. But if you say anything like, it's not down to the owners, people jump on that because everything has to be on FSG, and you can put that back to them not supporting the manager enough with midfield players. I get all that. Yeah. But these lads on the pitch should be able to play and perform better than they are. And I don't care about lads being missing. I don't care about, lads like Curtis Jones having to come in from the cold. I'd still expect a better level of performance than what we've seen. And if we take that Leeds game as the example, Leeds fans may not be happy with Jesse Marsch, but we all know how Jesse Marsch and how Leeds have played, even under Bielsa. It's all about running, fitness. It's non-stop, it's constant. So we knew what they were going to do coming into the game, whether they're low on confidence or not, they're going to run. And what annoyed me most about it was Liverpool just didn't look like they wanted to outwork them, didn't want to match them for effort. And that was the biggest thing for me, because I expect more from these lads. Ilham Meslier has a great game. He makes something like eight or nine saves in the match. On another day, we batter them, but we didn't take our chances, and it is what it is. Leeds come into Anfield, they get the win.
Nothing to lose, really.
No, they didn't, and they're down the bottom, and this all stems from the week before. The team below them, Nottingham Forest, done it. We went, well, obviously it was at their place, but we went to Forest and showed no guile and no guts and no determination, and we got punished for that. And that's the thing that annoys me the most is, lads on the pitch, Liverpool have a very set system, and Jurgen Klopp has a set way of playing. But sometimes when you're on the pitch, you have to sort of take things into your own hands and take responsibility for some things. And what I was finding this season, a lot of the time, the players didn't seem to be doing that. Whether that's down to instruction from Klopp or not, I just felt they weren't putting in the effort and the work rate. And that's the biggest frustration for me, because this team is built on effort and work rate. And people can blame losing Sadio Mane. People can blame bringing in Darwin Núñez. People can blame this, can blame that. ultimately, in my opinion, these lads are mentally and physically shot from a very, very long season, and some of them from a very long few years. And in that sense, I think it is going to turn around. And you touched on it there, as we spoke about it beforehand, as before the show, as you said, a lot of games still to play in this. And I'm looking at Liverpool, and what we're seeing now is not what we're used to. So I base my opinion and my assumptions for the rest of the season on what we've seen historically, not on what we've seen for the first few games, because that's not the norm. That's out of the norm. So I think Liverpool's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of games to win in this. And you're right, you start with Spurs now on Sunday. And if you beat them and you can take your game in hand and you can start getting a bit of rhythm and a bit of momentum together, because like we know there's a big break coming up now in a couple of weeks. If you can get yourself in a better place come the new year, then you can start making shapes and start making moves. And that's what I hope for Liverpool, that come January, I would love to see a midfield reinforcement coming, because I do think we need it. We have lads in that squad that let us down constantly with fitness and availability, namely Naby Keita and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I like the lads. I like the two of them. I don't dislike any Liverpool players, if I'm being honest. But these boys, when the chips are down, they're always missing. And that's the biggest frustration I have. Jordan Henderson doesn't have it anymore. Big fan of Jordan Henderson. He doesn't have it anymore. Milner is playing too much. Curtis Jones, he's only 21. People forget how young he is. They think he's, on the last chance saloon. He's still a young player. Harvey Elliott and Fabio Carvalho. I thought he was very good against Napoli. He was awful against Forest. I think he did have a good game against Napoli, because he can carry the ball, and that's what Curtis Jones can do. Sometimes he carries it too much and doesn't release it in time. But we'll see what happens with him as the season progresses. But we do need one in midfield. If we get that in January, brilliant. If we don't, we just have to soldier on with what we have. But that'd be the worry. All those lads. Fabinho's falling off a cliff again. I think he can turn that around. Thiago's another one that, I love him. You won't find a bigger Thiago fan than me, but
availability. Doesn't play 7 or 8 games consistently though, like available even in the squad, that's the problem, Keith. Like, there's a quote, and I listened to a bit of Graham Souness lately, whether you like him or you don't. Gee, I love him or hate him, I suppose, but I love Souness. Proving everything in the game, and a lot of us look like everyone. He doesn't get it right all the time, but big games, there's a quote, big games are won and lost in midfield, and that's what's sabotaged us. Our midfield is just, it's not consistent enough. And then, as you said, like availability, like there's nearly 90 million we've spent on Keita and Ox, and they haven't returned that, and now they're going to go on a free, probably going to go in January, one of them, if not two of them. It's been a bit let down from them, and even Curtis Jones, as young as he is, he's never available. Thiago, not available consistently enough. Fabinho, not at the races at all this season, probably different reasons why. And then Jordan Henderson is not the same Jordan Henderson as probably 2-3 years ago, but he's still there. He puts in the effort, he's dedicated, he's that desire, he's everything about him. All the buzzwords you want to use, let's say, that sums up Henderson. So we do need reinforcements. We need blood in there with the right players. Hopefully that starts in January. I'm not sure whether we'll get a whole midfield injection of 2 players or more in January. I don't see it, but next summer. But look, there's a long way to go. It's early in the season. It feels like it's been a lifetime already. But as you said, the chips are down. These lads need to be available, and they haven't been. And it gives so much more protection, oozes confidence throughout the team when you have midfielders playing consistently, and you've that engine room, as Souness referred to recently. It just gives everyone confidence. The back, the keeper are better, and up front, there's just, like, Klopp always used the word rhythm, fluidity, momentum, because he loves it. But that's only good when you're winning, And at the moment, we're hit and miss. We're the only actually English team during the night to get 15 points in the group stage and finish second. So that sums up how good Napoli have been in it. Obviously they did the more the goal difference. On to Spurs the weekend, Keith. They're missing, isn't a son, Kulusevski, I think that's his name, Romero. Richarlison is out, so that's a blow to them. Big players
went off as well, injured, didn't he, the other night?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, now we know they've Son, they have Sessegnon, they've Kane, they've Mora there, but they're not, like, Son's going to be a huge loss. We've seen him at Anfield and previous against Liverpool, the energy of him, the creativity, how dangerous he is, how quick, skillful he is, and obviously he's a goal assist, and he's going to be dangerous. So for them to have him out, do you think Spurs, like that, I think you'd agree that'd be a blow for Spurs, but you think they will sit back and pressers or go toe-to-toe? Because I think they've only really one way of playing that Conte, don't they? And they seem to be a little bit frustrated with Conte, but there's also, going into this game, Keith, we talked about Liverpool starting games slow and conceding first all the time. Spurs have conceded the first, sometimes second goal, like Bournemouth last week. In the last 5 games, 2 in the Champions League, 3 in the league, they conceded the first goal each time. And as I said, I think it was Newcastle, they conceded 2 against first, and Bournemouth last week.
Yeah.
Hasn't been good from them lately, you know. There's a few rumblings going on around there in North London that a few of them are not all that happy, and they were the kings of the transfer market, and there's nothing happening now on the pitch. Although, look, 26 points is good after 13 games for them. But what do you make of Spurs, and what do you think to expect from them going into this one on Sunday?
Yeah, I haven't been impressed with them at all. Some people are. I thought they'd be much better than they are. Antonio Conte is a defensive manager. We know that. He plays his favourite system, which is 3-4-3. It sounds like it's attacking, but it's really not. He likes to stifle teams, and for a manager like that, he's conceding an awful lot of goals, and I think that goes against the grain for Conte. I don't think he's too happy with that sort of momentum that they're having. But it will be interesting to see what players are available and what players aren't. And Son is going to be a huge loss for them, because I don't know if he's not scored that many this season, but he's a constant threat. And when you have a player like that, it's like when Mo Salah is out of form for Liverpool. Teams don't just say, right, we don't have to worry about Mo Salah because he's out of form. He still draws and attracts defenders. And Son is the same. He's in that caliber. And if he's there, he's going to draw your attention. Now, I don't know who they're going to play. I don't know. I know Kulusevski is doubtful. I don't know if he's definitely out or not. And Lucas Moura played the other night. Hit and miss with him, Brian Gill coming on. I really don't know. Yeah, but see, Sessegnon will play on that sort of right side of the midfield for. Perisic will probably play on the left side. And then they'll have their wingers in around. And as you say, with Richarlison being out, that's why Richarlison was bought, to alleviate the pressure off Kane and Son. And if he's out, that's a big loss for him. So it'll be interesting to see what Spurs do. Kev O'Sullivan's put a comment in there. It's Spurs will never be easy on the eye, but it's effective, especially against sides from 7th down. They don't concede many goals in general, and Romero was a big loss. And that is true. That sums up Spurs. They should be able to beat the bottom fodder, but we saw against Bournemouth the other day, steeped to get the win. Fucking steeped.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And all their games recently have been that, the other night in the Champions League, 95th minute winner. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Well, you get that. If Liverpool get a 96-minute winner, you'll take the positivity and you'll say, but that's a good momentum builder. But there comes a time when, if you're doing it every week, it's more like a bleeding, like, get out of jail. We can't keep going to this, and that's how I feel Spurs are at the moment. It could come back to bite me, Darren, but I don't know. I just don't think they're as good as I expected them to be.
And I think a lot of fans are saying that as well, and what you see on social media. Not one or two good Spurs fans. When I say good Spurs fans, they're not too reactionary, but they are now. They're good lads, and they're the same. Like they're a good transfer market. It's nearly a stage now where there's no excuses. But I've always said it. The two teams in the league that have let me down over the years, and I don't gamble at them, but if you ever done an odd bet or you're just waiting to get a good result, Spurs and Everton. Just something about them, they always let you down. I don't know whether it's some sort of voodoo or what it is. I'm not in any way spiritual, but they just seem to always let you down. And now the Spurs have a world-class manager. They've money there. We've seen that the stadium is unbelievable, a huge project there, but they've only had one trophy in 20-odd years, and they need to be doing a lot better. I know, and they're still living on getting to that Champions League final a little bit under Pochettino. So I think this weekend, look, it's two teams conceding first, haven't been the best defensively of late. It's hard to say, but I'm probably, it's a mad word to use, reluctantly confident, for this. But it's hard to say with Liverpool, Key, because I thought we turned the corner when we beat City. I thought we, beat West Ham. We weren't great. Milner gets a last minute clearance, and Nunes scores, and it's a clean sheet, and you're thinking, and then obviously Forest Leeds beat Ajax convincingly enough second half, and then Napoli all around I thought was really good reaction. But are we being fooled by that? Jimmy Morris throws in there. Jimmy's another one on the Stags tomorrow. Chelsea fans, Spurs are very boring to watch, and Liverpool aren't shooting lights out lately. Are we on for a snooze fest? Lovely hurling.
I
That's
tell you, I
it.
don't know, Jimmy. I don't know. Well, they both teams mightn't be fired, and I think both defences will definitely see to a goal fest tomorrow. To be honest, I think there'll be goals on Sunday. Sorry, I think there'll be goals in this one.
Yeah, I do. I think so. Speaking, you mentioned Nunes there earlier about reasons why Liverpool are struggling. He goes out Mane, like for Mane and that. What do you think, Keith? Because I love him. He brings something different. And in a moment where we're all a little bit negative, I think he's the positive. He's just, I don't know what it is about him. Celebrations as wild, the South American blood in him. He's had 7 goals in all comps. He's been out for 3 in the league at a crucial time to start when he would have gotten game time and would have gotten chances. He's been injured. Record is good for the minutes he's played, isn't it? And assists and stuff. So what do you make of him? I think something tells me you're a fan of him.
Oh, I love him. I absolutely love him. Yeah, I love him. And for everything you've said there, Darren, it's the passion. He's like, we say it on our show on the Daytrippers all the time. He's just a chaos merchant. He just brings absolute anarchy to the game. And some people are saying, well, lad, that's not going to help Liverpool. And I've been very defensive of him. I was getting into spats and all, saying that the people trying to say, oh, Nunes isn't right for Liverpool. This is why he's a failure. This is why he's a flop. He doesn't suit Liverpool. Listen, you can't always have the same player all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like Liverpool lost Sadio Mane because Sadio Mane wanted to live and he wanted to try something else, and that's fair enough. Sadio Mane's given everything to Liverpool. We got the best years out of him. Love all that. But we had to replace him, and we've gone for a player like Nunes, and I think people are terrified because he's not the nippy little forward, or he's not in the mould of a Salah or of a Mane, of a Firmino, of a Jota, of a Diaz. He's more in the mould of a Origi, but he's just absolute all action. Now, people are looking and saying, oh, he's a flop. It's because it's because of Erling Haaland that people are saying he's a flop, because Erling Haaland has a ridiculous goal record. But when you look at his minutes per goal, it's second to Erling Haaland in the league, and it's better than everyone else. He's got 8 starts, 15 appearances for Liverpool, 8 starts, 7 goals. I mean, you put in the 3-game ban, and he's, it's been stop-start from him, and he's still managing to get goals. And
new league, new culture.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
23, only turned 23 after he signed.
Yeah, and this is the thing, people criticize him. I got defensive. There was a YouTube show, and look, everyone's doing their own thing, and I love all that. I'm a big fan of fan media. I really think it's where you get the best opinions on things rather than journalists and sort of players and all that. I think fan media is brilliant. But one guy was on, and he's talking about, Nunes is a flop and Nunes is this, and I can't be having that, because he's saying his XG at Benfica last season was, his XG was 19, but he got 30 goals, and you can't outrun your XG, and that's maybe fair enough. But you can't compare a second season at Benfica to 15 games at Liverpool at the start of the season. Do you know what I mean? Like Darwin Nunes comes through at Penarol. He moves to Almeria early on, spends the season there, does well there, scores goals, moves to Benfica, takes a while to get settled in at Benfica, and then blows up on the second season, and then comes to Liverpool. Now, if you tell you look at that, the Uruguayan league to the Spanish Segunda, the Segunda to the Liga NOS in Portugal, and then to the Premier League, that's a step, gradual, going up all the time. It's not, like you can compare, oh, well, he got 30 goals in Liga NOS, that he should be able to go in and do that in the Premier League. It takes time to adapt, and you said it, he's only turned 23. So this lad has taken the step every single time. And if I'm being honest, has he been great? No. Has he been bad? No. It's a very decent start for him. He can improve his touch, but I think that's just wanting to impress. He's taking things on early, sometimes too early. And maybe when then decision making, he's not passing when he's shooting when he probably should square it. But then against Napoli the other night, he put a great ball across for Salah that just got nicked out at the last minute. So he seems to be learning from these things. I think he's a chaos agent, and I think every time he's on, I just want to get the popcorn out and watch, because he's absolutely tearing it up.
He caused havoc as well in the 2 games against City, the Community Shield, and when you come on against him. And to be fair, he should have scored. He scored in the Community Shield. Look, we'll say that was a curtain raiser, nothing too serious. But in the game against City there, where Salah scores, he comes on, he should have squared it, should have scored. I think he almost feels like, and this is just my opinion, Keith, that he's nearly feels like he owes the club something because of that sending off, because he took that very hard. You know, a lot of apologies. He came out, and sometimes you wouldn't get that in players because it's early days, a stupid mistake, we got on with it and we keep it internal with the manager. But he came fairly public, so I think he is still a little bit, he feels like he owes something, but I just love his passion, that kind of Suarez. So he really is. And look, we know that he's had conversations with Suarez. Suarez bigged them up, and for someone like Suarez to big him up, you know, he must have something really special. But as you said, he hasn't been amazing. He hasn't been bad either. But you say he made 15 appearances. He's only had a handful of starts out of them, probably a little bit more. Some of them he's come on with 10 minutes to go, Keith. And look, I often see players coming on 10 minutes to go. And I know 10 minutes in football can be a long time, but sometimes it isn't really either. It's you know, again, you get it, like it's because time goes quick as much as it doesn't in football, I suppose. So Kev has thrown there, we scored 10 of our last 2 Champions League games, had enough chances against Forest Leeds to be comfortable, just need to be clinical. Away games. Rudzi throws in, times have been tough lately, but I still back the lads and Klopp. FSG's time will be running out if they don't fully back the manager in the summer. What do you think of that, Keith, before we go on to Kev's other one here for Suarez about FSG's time? I mean, they're not going to be going or selling up anytime soon.
No.
And I mean, do we want to be owned by people that sports washing? There's a lot of corruption. It goes against all the financial fair play. Look, because financial fair play have let FSG down massively. Do we want to be owned by that and lose some traditions, history? Now, look, people will say the traditions, the history and all are lost, and I do get that. But at Liverpool, there's still a huge amount of that. The fact we still kept Anfield as home, yet we've extended because we need to financially and compete and be bigger and the demand of fans that get all that. But around Anfield match day, it still is as traditional and historic as you're going to get it for a modern day, the way the game is going. FSG, look, I mean, when things were going great, we were praising them. 8.5 million for Andy Robertson and nothing. Oh, unbelievable. Klopp is this, Klopp is that. Wijnaldum, 25 million what he gave us. Salah, 35 million. I mean, at some stage, I seen about 3 or 4 years ago a fan putting up he's worth at least 200 million now. You know, like, so it's mad how people's mindset change, but you have to be realistic about these things, and you have to kind of, if you have an opinion, stick to it and back it. Don't just kind of follow what others are saying and people what they're sporting out, because a lot of this is for likes. It's for what's the word I'm looking for? Clickbait. You know, it's just nonsense. Like a lot of it, you have to be realistic.
Exactly. Look, the FSG thing, you touched on it there. They're under no pressure to sell, and just because a few fans have the hump and think they can run it better than them, they're not going to sell. But the only way they'll sell is if someone comes in and gives them, you know, the whopper offers. And we've said it on the Daytrippers before.
Yeah, I've heard
Shawnee Lawson has said, you know, Liverpool are an attractive proposition because it's going to be expensive. It's going to be 4 billion in that ballpark. Now, people will argue and say, well, Chelsea were getting that. Chelsea's ownership, I think, will be, when it settles down, will be a lot like FSG, you know, so you have to be careful what you want. You're either getting, you know, you're asking for an Elon Musk, and look, he's an absolute shyhawk with Twitter already. You're looking at Jeff Bezos, or you're looking at a sovereign state coming in, and an oil state's already coming in and becoming a billionaire's plaything. Now, some people will say, I don't care about that once I'm winning. I do care about it, I have to be honest. I really do. And I just think the ethos of Liverpool, well, the history and all that, it becomes a marketing tool nearly, you know. There's capitalism is there, money is, the game isn't the same. But the spirit is still socialism at Liverpool. And I think if they were to be bought out, let's say, for example, they were bought out by the king of Kuwait or the king of Bahrain or Jordan, I don't know who has the money over there, right? So let's say they're bought out by a royal family over there, and they're competing with your Newcastle, your Man Cities, your PSGs. It becomes, for me, in the immediacy, it's like, I don't know, because I don't believe. What? Yeah, it is. It is.
In a game, it's like, do we do this naturally? Like, yeah, and then you'd have other fans then obviously coming up and saying, "Oh, we'll show you sport or what you expect." Yeah. So where do you draw the line, and where do you?
Fans will say that, you know, Liverpool won the league, and they tried to say, "Oh, it was only during COVID," even though we had the league wrapped up before COVID. Nonsense. And they'll always use that sort of carry on. But there's something about it with the sports washing and the sort of just throwing the money here, and it just doesn't sit well with me. Now, that's not to say I think everybody's wrong who agrees with it. That's just my opinion. It just wouldn't be for me. And I think, while it wouldn't drive me away from supporting Liverpool, it would certainly kill a piece of me support and me love for it. Because what I enjoy, right? People always say, 30 years waiting on a league. I love the chase. Do you know what I mean? I loved the competition of it. Of every year, I was one of them fans. This year is going to be a year. Next year is going to be a year. Because if you don't think that, what is the point? So I'm always of that opinion. And to me, it's like in Only Fools and Horses when Del Boy became a millionaire and he was still trying to buy, headless pigeons in a suitcase, and Rodney had to tell him, Del, we're not in the game anymore. And Del Boy lost a bit of that. And that to me is what it would be like. You know what I mean? It's all part of the chase. But how long can you chase when you're up against, unlimited wealth at Saudi Arabia, at Abu Dhabi? And at the end of the day, they're taking clubs, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, a little bit of disrespect, right? But they're taking no-mark clubs like Newcastle and Manchester City because they're attainable to them. Abu Dhabi bought Man City from your man Thaksin Shinawatra, right? He came in and he initially bought, but they knew that was a club that had the potential. They got that new ground. They didn't have to build them a ground, and there was potential there for growth. Newcastle, they come in, they're absolute bottom of the barrel, but they've got a big stadium already, and they've got a loyal fan base, starved fan base. So they're like, right, you get them for a snip here, and you go and do it. To buy Liverpool, you're talking about a few billion. Do you know what I mean? And it's not going to be attractive. I don't know where the reward is, unless it's just to be a plaything, unless it is just for some sheik to say, well, I want to be better than that sheik over there, so I'm going to buy this club. Look, I'm not saying people who want that, and I'm not saying I wouldn't celebrate a league win or a Champions League win, but it would sort of kill a bit of the
I think
enjoyment
Liverpool
of the
as
chase.
A club, it loves the chase, doesn't it? It loves that kind of the highs are nothing without the lows type of thing. And like, we're all in dreamland the last few years, and I know people say, but one league and all this and that, but we're still, because there's something about Liverpool, the history, the music there, the city, the culture, and being Irish and all that. It really is, and it's just very, very unique, and that's how I say it to people. Even the nightlife over there, how it goes on, and some of the stories, it's very unique. And would we want to be kind of seen to cheating? And then, as you said, it's one sheik against another. But then it comes where players are earning, I don't know, more than, like, you're just talking players are on more than $1 million a week. It'll get to that. Then it'd be 2, then it'd be 3 million. Then, you're talking transfers of fucking 500 million. Like, it get to that. I'm talking long-term longevity. If this was to keep happening, it will. And it just takes everything out of the game, because now the new generation of people are going to grow up nearly almost supporting players and just teams with success. And this is no dig at Man City or Newcastle, but I think we've all, in the last couple of years, or certainly months, people that were never into football wearing the Man City jersey, because it's just, they see it. It's just one of those. It's a marketing thing, isn't it? They just see it and see them winning stuff, see them advertised, and that's it. And that's not what I support, And if it means Liverpool don't win that title for a long time, so be it. But look, we've a real love affair with the European Cup, something that those clubs have never won, and will still take a long time. And I'm happy for us to hold on to that, and for them to keep trying to buy their way to doing that. And look, I think it's almost like the saying, if you hang around the barber shop long enough, you'll get a cut. Maybe they will eventually, but who knows? You know what I mean? So look, weekend, Spurs, huge game, must win for Liverpool. I think, look, I know someone, Jimmy Trunnan there about it being, will it be a bar draw, snooze fest? I don't think so. I think both teams have plenty of goals in them. What Liverpool are we going to see, do you think, Keith? Or, I know you probably don't know, but what are you expecting?
Well, I'm expecting a good Liverpool performance, to be honest, Arden, and for no other reason than I think they get themselves up in the bigger games. Now, Arsenal aside, we were really at a low ebb at that stage, and it sort of caught us out. The goal in the first minute, whether it should have been ruled out or not, that's another question. It probably should have been if VAR was working. They didn't have a blatant camera to spot that Saka was offside. But, this is what happens. You win some, you lose some. I look at the biggest frustration for me over the last few weeks was how we could go against Man City and you'd see Joe Gomez putting in a man of the match performance and, you know, then going out against Nottingham Forest and absolutely shitting the bed. And then in must win against Ajax, weathering an early storm, to not give up any chances. Ajax hit the post in the first minute of that game and then done nothing really for the rest of it. You know what I mean? They're a lot of huff and puff, but without... And then to go out and get beaten by Leeds. And this is the frustration. To then go and slaughter Napoli well comfortably. Do you know what I mean? So it's been up and down. But the big games they seem to be able to go up for, and the smaller games, they're absolutely taking their eye off the ball. So to me, and this could come back to bite me in the arse, I'm more worried about Southampton next week than I am Spurs. Do you know what I mean? Because I just think that this team will look to punish Spurs, who, as I said, I don't think are in great form. I think they have a few issues themselves. If Liverpool can only shake themselves out of this slumber that they're in, I think they can get the win there on Sunday.
They do have a few issues themselves. Now, I don't think it helps for Liverpool because you look at any of the teams in the league, the bigger teams ahead of us, City, for example. If David Diaz and Jota out, who are incredible options for us to have with the experience to have, how good they are, how creative they are, the assists, the goals, etc. they get, and the options they have, even to come off the bench, that extra bit of energy they give us and that tenacity they have, anybody's going to miss them. So I know that's one excuse for us, and excuses of us being chop and change, rotation in the team and not having players available. But we need to, we just have to find some consistency because we were so good before that. When we players out, when we are chopping and changing, just soldiering on, just getting that win, you know what I mean, at all costs. It's been a while, Keith. I'll admit that I've seen Liverpool and I said, you know what, we lost to the better team. We just weren't good enough, but the lads gave it everything and they left nothing there. And you'd have to be proud, but even though we lost, I can't remember the last time they done that. I really can't. But it probably Real Madrid in the Champions League final because I don't think performance that bad. They're a bit unlucky, and I know Trent gets caught out. And look, Madrid are just Madrid. They've 14 European Cups, whatever it is. Sums are all up. But it's been a long time, Keith, and I haven't had a performance this season where like we lost 2-1 at United, and I thought we were awful. And on another day, it should have been more. But it made it look like if you looked at the highlights, we actually probably could have gotten into it at the end, and we could have. But like, I mean, we've been awful too many times, and we need to, like, if we can get a little run together with Spurs, with Southampton, then the break, we'd be all feeling a bit better going to the break, coming back 24 league games. Are you any aspirations for winning any of the cups this year? Probably the Champions League, of course, but are you kind of saying to yourself, top four, good run the Champions League, and I'll take that now, or are you still saying, no, we're the holders of the cup, let's go for it?
Well, I think it all comes down to the shape of us after the World Cup. And I think the World Cup plays a huge part for a lot of team seasons. We go in, we play the Carabao this week against, the next midweek against Derby, right? So that's a game that we should be looking to progress past.
Rotate as well, yeah.
Rotate heavily, and you'd still expect to get out there. So that, you know, fingers crossed. I'm not taking it for granted because anything can happen, but you'd expect them to be able to get the win there. That puts you into the next round. And then you're looking and you're like, right, all you can do, and this is what I think happened last year, was Liverpool, they went at the cups a bit, and the more you get into them, the more rounds you go through, it's like, right, well, this is, we're here, we take this a little bit serious now, and I think we will look at them, but I think there will come a point where the league will start coming into focus now. I still think we can come in the top four. I think, I think, ever the optimist here, I think Arsenal will start falling back. I think Spurs will start falling back. And I wouldn't rule out if Liverpool can put on a run, getting much closer. Not the Man City. I think Man City are going to run away with the league. But I think Liverpool will be well in the mix in the top four race. And I think that'll determine what they do in the cups because, well, don't get me wrong, Champions League, I love the Champions League. It's the trophy I take over the league. To be honest, people think I'm mad and think I only say that, but genuinely, I just have this thing for the European Cup. I think if we can win that, brilliant. But I just think we need to see how we're shaped up after the World Cup and in the new year. You know, if we can get players back and we can get, the rust off some lads and we can get a bit of stability fitness-wise, there's no reason why we can't. Man City and Liverpool are the teams that were putting on up the 90-point seasons, that were putting up the 12, 13 game winning streaks. And I'm holding that in my head that that's something Liverpool. Now, I know Arsenal have got there already. I'm not overly impressed with them. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. I think they're doing well, but I don't have faith that they can keep it up.
They lack, they lack steel for me, and that bit of goal, and that kind of. They lack winners, I think, in the team. Look, they've done great. They've done brilliant, and Arteta. Some of the fans at Arteta out tops now, and it makes them now look like absolute muppets.
Yeah.
I think some of them were actually hoping he'd fail because once they said it had to happen.
Exactly.
But I think he's done really well. They've surprised me because I kind of thought at the start of the season, first game Palace, let's see if they beat this and we'll know how good they are. And they did, and they haven't been great in some games, but they've got wins, Keith, and it's all about winning, and it's all about the points at the end of it. But I think they just lack that bit of, I think, a bit of maturity and a bit of steel and leadership in the team. I think some great creative players, but when the going gets tough, that's going to be where we'll see the real Arsenal. I think they'll have a good season, but it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't win at either this season. I really wouldn't, Keith. And same with Spurs, as I said, because as long as I'm watching football, Spurs have always let me down. Always, big time. I thought when Conte came in, it changed. It has and it hasn't. Got some great results, some great performances, and then they didn't. Like, they went United there, were brutal recently. And the last 5 games conceding the first goal for a defensive team, it's not been good enough. And they were blessed last week against Bournemouth, but even against Marseille, said John, 95th minute, let's hope this is a good time to play them. And look, let's hope these lads, we just come out the weekend, the basics right, just come out with some aggression, some hunger, roll the sleeves up and dig in against these. And I think, not saying that they're able to take it, but we can get something positive out of it, positive result, but I'll beat them because they can't. Rudsley throws in their doppelganger twins will be on the late tonight talking about that journey. An unbelievable journey for anyone that is in and around Dublin. They're in the Jervis shopping centre. Get into the lads. They've a little coffee shop there. They've won in Charlestown. And they're 2 good Liverpool fans. And if you go in, tell them the lads off the Daytrippers myself, they might even give you a free one. I got a free one, but I'm not saying you will. But big up my man Darden, big up James. I hope all is well, bro. Long time no see or hear. Everyone obviously go over and subscribe to James Redmond TV. I'm sure everyone that watches this does. He's a phenomenal fan base out there, and keep up the great work as well with Alex and the lads on the COP TV. So Keith, I'm not going to probably ask for score prediction because it's just, I hate this, but do you want to go with one? Or?
Yeah, I'll go with one. Yeah. I think Liverpool are going to win 3-1.
I thought we'd be unfair going for score prediction. 3-1, right? I'll go with Liverpool. I think we concede, but we'll score more. I'll go for 2-1. Yeah, I think 2-1, but 3-1 certainly wouldn't be a snooze fest. And because I'm going to be on the Stags with Jimmy Morrison, I'm sure we'll tune into it. I want to kind of get one back at him. I think it's going to be a snooze fest, but I think he's on a bit of a wind up and in pre-Stags mode, Jimmy is. So, Keith, there's not anything else to chat about or anything else with the...
No. Did you see the FA have appealed against Jurgen's fine? They think he's too lenient and they're looking for him to be punished further for the shouting at a linesman.
Look, I'm not, because I'm a Liverpool fan, a big Jurgen Klopp fan. I said after it, and I was watching the game in the house with missus, and I says, I'm going to say it was a load of bollocks. It was a free kick, right? It should have been, and it wasn't. And these happen and they don't happen. Of course, Klopp is going to go that little bit above and beyond and give out. Because all he done was he got fair, it was a bit abusive. He came out of his area. No big deal. There wasn't anything else happened. It didn't provoke anything. I just think it's I love that. I love that, and Klopp loves it. And for me, it was very mild. I'm going to be honest, Keith, it was very mild. When I look back and thought, what's the big deal? Because someone said to me in walk, see Klopp, and I says, was he not right? You love that. And I was glad because he showed us passion. And if it means Klopp is getting sent off all the time, so be it. Once we're winning, he's showing us passion. I just think it's a load of bollocks, Keith. I don't know what you think.
I agree with you. I agree with what you've said there, Darren. I think, he's passionate. He apologised. He realised he probably overstepped the mark. But when you're looking at these decisions, now Jurgen Klopp is fairly secure in his job. We know that he's not. Yeah. But they're the type of things, these stupid decisions by linesmen and referees are what cost managers' jobs. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, as I say, Jurgen isn't at that stage or not, but it's an incident happened right in front of a linesman and he's not flagging. And not only that, you then have Bernardo Silva who lashes out with an elbow and a kick at Salah as he's going by. And your man's looking straight at this. And Klopp he's going rasher over that. And I think it's understandable. But I just think, it's a big deal being made out of it. It wasn't helped by the FA or by the ref, on the day. This nonsense, right, of I'm not going to call for fouls. This crap has to stop, because people can think, oh no, that's great, let the game go. You can't have different rules for different games. There has to be rules. Do you know what I mean? Like a foul is a foul is a foul. Not a foul is a foul, but it's not a foul if it's Liverpool or Man City because it's on the telly. Can't be that. It has to be, this is the rules of the game. We have to do it. And Pep Guardiola lashed into Anthony Taylor when he was going to check the VAR on the...
Yeah. He did. His reaction was probably a little bit over. It got more camera attention. Yeah. I don't know whether it was more reaction, but it certainly looked more because Sky showed a bit more of it. But I think it's a load of bollocks, Keith. It's like, the game is becoming... It's a physical game, and I love the hard tackling and getting on. Obviously, look, I know there's fouls and it's a bit softer, it's gone. But look, it's a physical sport. It's, it has to, there's going to be physical. If you mentally and physically are prepared for these. We see the lads, the shape they're in, how good physically, and like some of them are just unbelievable, they're monsters. But Klopp was right, having a go. And I mean, Salah was dragged down, and it was a free kick. And for Klopp then, I think it would have been justified when Anthony Taylor didn't give it, if he had just let Klopp go. And that then thing should happen. So if you don't give a free kick and then something else is probably an instant to say, look, I'll leave it because I'll take responsibility. But they're not. But nothing comes out, Keith, nothing. Same with VAR when officials, and it's not VAR's problem, it's the officials. There's no sanction for them. Nothing happens,
Exactly. Go on, there's no accountability.
I watch BT Sport and these referees come out on it, and I'm sick of it, like talking, what do you think? And the referee nearly always goes at the ref, and I'm kind of like,
every time, yeah,
it's like, come on, like, what's the point in having them on? Like, you want something to be controversial, and that's, I'd say some of the lads I chatted in Liverpool and that, we used to have a thing, you'd well know this, Keith, RTE, and you had a couple of the lads on it, and they were very controversial. I used to love it. Yeah. Sometimes I think on Sky and all, they're very safe, and what they say it's too, there's no real grey area, they're too safe. And then when they do 100%. Say something a little bit, it'll come up on Instagram, Keane and Neville furious at each other or something. And looking back, they're not furious, they just have a little bit of a different opinion. But Sky are making this to blow out and to be shared. It's ridiculous, it is.
It is.
Yes, form go for him. Think that's why he only got the fine. Yeah, probably. Yeah, could be right, Kevin. Come the World Cup, Premier League players will pick up loads of bookings, mainly because of the nature of referees. Yeah. Another thing, Keith, I wanted to say, it was something we had a discussion earlier, a few of us. The World Cup is starting soon. Next weekend is the last games in the Premier League till then. Are we going to see a little drop off from some of the top players that really passionately want to go to the World Cup because they don't want to pick up an injury next week? Or is that just bizarre to think that?
No, I think Virgil van Dijk's played in second gear because of one eye on the World Cup. People may not agree with that, but to me, I think loads of players.
I didn't say I think he does. What I actually said earlier, and it was to Jimmy, I said I think Van Dijk possibly, there's some of the stuff going around circulating that because of the World Cup, I actually think it might be true, because watching him lately, there's no way he's going out and putting in a proper effort, and that's why I don't think we'll see the best of him until he comes back. I understand it to a certain extent because he missed out on the Euros and all that. But it's your bread and butter, you're being paid. You have to, if you want to be a Liverpool player, you want to be a Liverpool legend, you have to do it. There's no argument. But
that's what they're getting by putting a World Cup in the middle of a season. This is the repercussions. You saw Rafael Varane went off injured for Man United there a couple of weeks ago in tears because a fucking hamstring strain that would usually get you back within a few weeks means you're missing the World Cup now. Do you know what I mean? There's no time for these players to get injured and recover. And that's the madness of it. I think players are looking at one eye on the World Cup. They'll never admit that, and that's fair.
No,
but this is all a problem that FIFA have caused by moving that World Cup, and with the World Cup, Qatar won the bid for that World Cup on the basis it was going to be in the summer. They won it and then changed it to the winter, and it's like, what is going on here? Do you know what I mean? What the fuck is happening? Because you cannot have a tournament where these ultra fit professionals finish up next weekend. When does the World Cup start?
The weekend after. England play the following Sunday.
You know what I mean? Like, so the week, it's absolutely ludicrous. And this is what's being caused by this. FIFA grade. Qatar are looking to buy the World Cup. They need it again. It comes down to sports washing, and it's we're going to wash away. Our reputation's going to be this, and we see it everywhere. It's not just in football. It's not just Qatar, but it's just happening all the time. And the players, this is the ultimate sign that the players' welfare does not matter in this. It does not matter, because it's all about the Benjamins now. We want the money. We're going to do this. Players don't matter. You're seeing so many of them are missing the World Cup. And this is the cause of it.
And we all have to travel, get over within a week, within 7 days, train, get together, do that. It's a farce, and it's real rush together. People are watching World Cups and jackets, and I get over there the climate, and then you've all the human rights. There's so many things, even without getting into politics, Keith. I'm not looking forward to it. I'll watch it because it's on and this and that. I'm not a big international football fan. I love watching actually the South American teams, Argentina, Brazil, and that. But I'm just saying, like, if this is where it's going to, and the fact that this was approved and it's happening, it's too late to change anything now, I think, and it's shocking. And Kev sums it up there by saying the league should be finished this week. At least when it's on. But
the World Cup finals on the 18th of December. And we're back playing on Stevens' Day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's 8 days after. Kev puts in there, Netflix documentary comes on the 11th. I think it will be explosive. I seen the trailer, but it looks mad with all the corruption with Sepp Blatter and stuff. But I hope they do reveal as much as what's actually going on. But it will be. And then there's a lad here, Yorav Dawali. I hope I said your name right there. I'm not great at pronunciation. Can I come on to have me say that? Get on to me on Twitter, Darren Whelan on Twitter, and I'll send me a message. Or I'm on Instagram, Darren Whelan, and we'll have a chat with you and get you on if you want to have a say. Wherever it's around, no bother at all, pal. It's always good to get new people on. I don't know who he is now or nothing, but we'll be happy to get anyone on to have a say. But look, Keith, we'll wrap it up early. It was a busy evening now ahead, obviously with a day ahead tomorrow. Thanks for coming on. A pleasure. I really appreciate it, pal, for giving me time. I know it's been a long time, and Kev's been on a few times, and I haven't been on much now of late with a bit of bad news in the family recently, so I took a bit of time off, but it's all I'm back now. I want to start doing a lot more now on it and getting lads on regularly and doing content because I love it. And as you said, Keith, fans are as good as pundits and players. And appreciate you coming on and keep up the good work with Daytrippers. I say it on it all the time. You're doing some great stuff for charity. You have a great community on it and loads of subscribers. I know it's not about that, but it is good when you get recognised for what you're doing. It's good that people subscribe and look to help out and watches and hears I say and react to it. I think that's great, whether it's good or bad,
That's it. Yeah, exactly. We say it on our show all the time. It's just like lads sitting around in the pub having a pint talking about football, and we don't claim to know more than anyone else. You know what I mean? And you've been on with us before, Darren. We don't have our heads up in the clouds or our nose is up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just lads talking about football. We're not always right. We're not always wrong. We're always somewhere in between, and that's what it's all about. And it's a bit of crack, and that's why we do it. And I'm glad to see you back on doing it yourself, because as I say, we need more stuff like this where you can interact with fans and you can get your point across. It can be civil, it can be friendly, and what more do you want?
Sometimes it's not, but I see Kev there he's been coming on to a few after shows I've seen, and tension was boiling. But him and Chris or whoever was on with them, there was a lad, Matt, as well. They've handled it great, kept it very civil. And look, I know it's not easy. A few times I've been on and I just had to switch out with things. It was just too much. But look, it's the passion, we all love it. We're back in the 24th for the fourth round of the Carabao Cup. Oh, that's December, is it? I didn't know that. Fourth round, so we beat Derby. We're back in the 24th, Keith. That's Kev saying it. So that's shocking. Very, very bad.
I suppose the only thing you'd say about that is we should have enough lads that can play that game. Depending on the draw, and even still, that aren't going to the World Cup. That's the only blessing in that one, is that we'll be able to field the team. But
but there's no player welfare with it all. It's just scream. Let them do what they want, and we're making the money, and it's being promoted. It's shocking, it really is, and it's something I'm against. But look, that's a topic, obviously, for another day. We can have more discussions on that, and I think the Super League more will raise its head about that. Very controversial, but you have to look at the bigger picture to it all. Keith, pleasure coming on, pal. have a good evening. You're on the Daytrippers on Sunday, is it? Back on probably?
Back on Sunday. The Daytrippers will be on later on. I don't know if Kev is on, but they'll be on at 10 o'clock tonight. But I'll be back on Sunday, myself and Gav and Shawnee and probably Emmett as well. And look, we're just having the chats over there. It's good crack. And if anyone doesn't watch, give us a look and see what you think. Maybe you might enjoy it, maybe you won't, but you can't please everyone all the time.
I think they will. I think is that very good, and I think as well, very honest, and you'll always say, look, now I got that wrong, or but he's all of an agenda that he'll stick to and back it up, and that's what it's all about. I think not coming out with sprouting out mad stuff.
Yeah, but thanks for having me on, Darren. If we can come on again in the future, you give me a shout. And
I said it to Shawnee as well. Shawnee will come on again soon, probably for the Southampton. I'm gonna definitely do a lot more. It does take time, and I'm very busy at the moment, but I definitely want to come on. And Kev there just confirmed, me, Matt, and Guest is on tonight. That's on Sports. Go over at 10 o'clock, lads. The lads do great stuff. Keith, pleasure, pal. Take care. Thanks for coming on, and let's hope one of our score predictions is right the weekend.
100%.
Even better, we keep a clean sheet and win.
100%. Yeah.
Thanks, pal.
Take it
Cheers,
easy.
Paul.